Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new IDontWorkHereLady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first story is titled Because I Do Work There. About 12 years ago, a few years after I started working for the government in a very particular security agency, not part of the deep state. And I can't find anyone who is. I would stop at my neighborhood grocery store on the way home once or twice a week to pick up fresh items. During the winter I would wear a long, dark overcoat atop my suit and, as the fashion of the time, a black fedora. Me, being clueless as to how I looked, would happily complete my shopping. I took little notice of what went on around me. Fast forward about a month. As I am shopping, an older man wearing a manager name tag approached me. He asked if he could speak to me for a couple of minutes and then proceeded to show me around the store. I, still in an utterly clueless state, am confused when he begins to point out abandoned, half-filled grocery carts. After a few minutes I stop him and ask what this is actually about. Store manager, this happens every time you come in. And I think you're coming in from your office. Me, less than nods. And still confused greater than. Store manager, haven't you heard what the customers are whispering? Me, less than shakes head. Even more confused greater than. Store manager, they keep saying, federales, and then get the hell out of here. Me, less than blinks in complete bafflement greater than. Store manager, they think you're a federal officer here to arrest them. The light bulb in my head finally gets some juice and light spills through my brains and out my ears. I lived in an area with a large undocumented visitor population, and still do, nice people. Coupled with the three initials emblazoned in white on a dark blue lanyard hanging around my neck. It all suddenly makes sense. I turn a little red in the face. Store manager, mind not coming in right after you get off work because it takes us about an hour to round up all the carts and put the products back on the shelves. Me, sure. Sorry about this. I didn't know. Store manager, oh, we know you didn't know. He didn't say it in a mean way, and we both chuckled a little. After that I did not go shopping dressed in my office clothing. I got a free 6-pack of soda the first time I showed up on a weekday dressed in civilian clothes. The entire staff knew about me. The next story is titled Dinged Twice. 2 things, I own that I accidentally left my work badge on but I was in a huge hurry. And this took place over a decade ago, as you will see that it took place at Borders. I used to work at a school as a teacher and we were starting a class novel per the school curriculum map. And I was 4 copies short because 4 of the books were in non-usable condition and neither I nor the media specialist noticed until it was the day of. I went to Borders on my lunch break, which was a total stretch because my lunch time after student supervision was really more like 25 minutes. And Borders was about 10 minutes away because of all the stop signs. I ran in, grabbed the books I needed, and went to rush to the checkout line, which was fortunately empty. When of course, some lady got mad that I was rushing around during her chill time at Borders and decided that getting me to help her find books would get me to stop acting like I was too busy and important to take care of customers. I basically ignored her because it was getting too close for comfort time-wise. She wasn't having it and interrupted the transaction taking place to tell the Borders cashier that she wanted to make a complaint about me to the manager. The cashier told her I didn't work there, but they also hadn't completed the transaction yet. The manager was fortunately nearby and the lady is complaining to him and the cashier is unsure of what to do. And it's only taken a few minutes to get resolved, but now I definitely won't make it back in time. Which is a huge no-no. Especially since we're not supposed to go off campus for our lunch. And definitely not show up late for accepting students back into the classroom. Lady sees my work badge and as I'm on my way back to work, she calls the school to complain about how rude I was. And how she's offended that her tax dollars are paying for me to go on shopping trips. So, I get a reprimand at work for being late. I get a reprimand for leaving campus. I get a reprimand for poor community relations. And I get a reprimand for not following the proper protocol for ordering the books through our book depository, which takes 2 to 4 weeks. And additional scolding for not planning ahead, when I didn't receive the books until the day before because the other grade level teacher turned them back in a week late. And cherry on top, the admin decides to do a surprise observation. While I'm taking back over for the teacher who covered for me while I was being reprimanded, she had to use my emergency plans, which took a few minutes to delve into because it wasn't her subject area, and the supervisor decides that the transition took too long, and that because we were assigning book copies and reviewing how to take care of the books, e.g. upright in locker. Use bookmark instead of dog-earing pages. Use post-its instead of writing in the book, etc. That not enough academic content was taking place. So I got a poor eval. Most of it got removed from my file because of the union's involvement. But it was such a waste of time and energy. The next story is titled, Surveying Gone Wrong Then Right. This was a year or two ago, so my memory of the exact wording is going to be a little hazy, but I hope you enjoy. I work as a crew chief for a survey company in South Florida. On this particular occasion, I was doing a boundary and topographical survey for a home in an upper-class downtown area that was in the process of being renovated. Our company had previously surveyed on this road, so we had existing control points for our equipment to occupy. Look for property corners, establish elevations, all the good technical stuff. One of these points, unfortunately, was not on the road. If you're walking on a street or a sidewalk and you notice the head of some weird nail and a metal disc with writing on it, you're seeing a control point of a survey company. The control point I was looking for is known as a 60D. A nail that is a good deal longer than the ones we put in the road because we use them when we have to set a control point in dirt, sand, grass or otherwise unpaved terrain. This 60D was in the right-of-way of a home at the end of the street. I knew it was there because I had set it with my previous crew chief. My crew was just one other guy. Let's call him Ike. And as we searched for the 60D using a magnetic pin finder to locate it and my pocket knife to dig for it, the homeowner, a middle-aged Chad, came barreling out of his house. Chad, what the duck do you think you're doing? First of all, I hate confrontation. I'm an incurable people pleaser. Second, I hate explaining surveying to anyone not in the know because no matter how I try to describe what I'm doing, it always comes off as indecipherable gibberish. So I'm still trying to figure out how to answer as he continues ranting. C, what are you doing? What the duck are doing in my yard? I couldn't help myself. My brain clicked onto something and I calmly answered, technically, I'm not on your property, sir. I'm in the right-of-way. Fun fact, in Florida, surveyors are allowed to go anywhere so long as it directly affects our survey. I've had to explain that so many times we actually have a printout of the law to present to people when necessary. Though I didn't have it on me at the time of this incident. So it didn't really matter whether I was in the right-of-way or on his property, I needed that 60D to do my work. And I was legally allowed to do it. C, don't give me that crap. What company do you work for? Ike and I point to our shirts and tell him. C, well, what the duck are doing on my land? Me, we're looking for a control point to occupy for a survey. I know there's one in here. C, how? How do you know that? Me, because I was here when this company completed the final survey for your home after it was fully renovated. C, wheels starting to turn, why? What are you surveying? Me, the house down the street that's also under renovation. C, wait, you're not surveying the road for the city? Me, no, sir, we're a private company doing a job for a house builder. Chad's entire demeanor immediately changes. He becomes apologetic and ashamed of his behavior. He explained that the city was trying to put in sidewalks on several streets. The neighborhood, not wishing to undergo such a drastic change, had come together and hired lawyers to fight the possible sidewalk construction. Those lawyers had advised the homeowners not to allow city or county employees, including surveyors, to do any work towards the planning of the sidewalk. He told us, by all means, do whatever we needed to do, because he didn't care so long as it wasn't for the sidewalk. It was all so very sudden, but he was so nice afterward. He even brought us out a couple of water bottles. I feel that not pushing back and getting angry back at him was the right path. And Ike agreed, since he stated that I was way more patient than he, and that he would have likely knocked the guy out if the dude had continued. The next story is titled, Buy Me Dinner. My neighbor is a 70-something cat lady who will take me to lunch every other weekend in exchange for lifting all the cat litter and cat food at the pet store and then unloading it at her place. Last December, before everything. The store decided they weren't letting carts leave the building. So I took the first bunch of bags to the car and went back while she got the car started and pulled up to the doors. On the last trip inside, a Karen grabs my wrist and snaps, "You're helping me next." I give the "sorry, I don't work here" spiel, and she seems to absorb that I'm not wearing a polo and khakis and that I'm listening to music. This does not stop her though. "Well, you'll still help me anyway." And, with the desperation of having held back a joke I'd wanted to make for years, I said, "You'll have to buy me dinner first." And left. The next story is titled, "I don't know how much clearer I can say that I don't work here." A few years ago I, 20, went to a Party City type store here in Europe with my best friend, 22, to buy some supplies for my birthday party. I've never been to this particular store, so I was just looking around, picking up stuff and asking my friend if I should buy this or that. Him giving me advice on if that's useful or just a waste of money. For context, I was about 18 at that time. Had on a short, black shirt dress, sunglasses, big gold hoop earrings, Vans and a small handbag. Was in the middle of the summer as well, so I just looked like a typical young girl shopping with her friend. Or so I thought. I was looking at confetti poppers and was holding up 2 of them to show my friend who was standing like 5 meters away in another aisles, asking loudly, "Do you think I should buy these?" Cue confused lady, CL, who looked about mid-50s. So not even that old. This conversation followed, CL, "Excuse me. Do you know where this particular item is?" Me, "No sorry. I don't work here." I turned around to put the confetti poppers away. CL, "Can you just show me real quick where they are?" Me, again, "No. I don't work here. I have no idea." At this point I was sending help signals with my eyes to my friend, as I'm really not good with social interactions. CL, "I just need to buy a few of them for my daughter and I can't seem to find them. Can't you just tell me where they are?" Me, "Listen. I don't work here. I do not work here. I am 18 and I am shopping myself." WASNT screaming, just pronouncing every word very clearly as maybe she had problems with her hearing. My friend is laughing his ass off and finally decides to come over to give me a sort of alibi that I really am just another customer. CL, "What are you trying to say?" Me, "I am a customer. Just like you. I walked in here in my own free time, picking up stuff for my own personal enjoyment. I do not work here. I am just shopping." At this point an actual employee started packing shelves next to us, and CL must have connected the dots that all employees here are middle-aged women in a specific uniform. While I was neither middle-aged nor dressed in that uniform. She grabbed both of my arms, apologized a lot and saying, "You just look like you work here," and shuffled away. I wasn't mad, just super confused, and my friend wouldn't let me forget that one. The next story is titled, "Check the uniform next time." I had finished work, and was shattered. As you might be able to tell by my I do not like early turn. My uniform is navy blue, with a light blue, white gingham check collar. I had been in a supermarket where the uniform is similar and had no issues, which was nice. Then I get to the range. Their uniform is a similar blue, but with a bright orange collar and the range stamped in orange on the back. Confused bloke, CB, has been strolling around a while I'm brain dead and struggling to function. CB, "Where's the floor spray?" Me, ambles about with my basket, looking at teapots. CB, "Hello? Floor spray?" Me, continues ambling, had no clue he was talking to me. CB then taps me on the shoulder firmly. I said, "Where's the floor spray?" Normally, I'm reasonably chilled and will engage with other shoppers. Sadly, CB managed to catch me on a bad day. I'd worked 8h since 4 AM, and managed less than 5h sleep beforehand. Me, "No feckin' clue mate." CB looks like he's gonna explode. Just then, an employee happens to walk down the same aisle. Me, try asking an employee. They're usually easy to spot because they wear a completely different uniform to the one I'm in. While pointing at the poor young guy who had clearly no clue what had occurred. CB looks completely out of his depth, now slightly red-faced. and walks over to the employee without so much of an apology. I think I left empty-handed. I was entirely done for the day after that. The next story is titled, Dude Targets Me and Refuses to Believe I Don't Work at the Supermarket. This just happened as I was leaving the supermarket. As I told my hub about it, he suggested I post it while fresh. Stopped there to pick up a dish sponge and half a gallon of milk. Ended up doing a full grocery shopping. Excited at the prospect of going home with one less task pending and more time to play trove with my son. I walk my cart full of food to my truck. This is where the IDWHL mess began. The parking lot is fair-sized for this supermarket. I drive a Ford F-150 and because it is raised, I find it easier to park towards the back of the lot so I can avoid the risk of not seeing someone walk behind the truck or park in my blind spot. About halfway through the parking lot, a man, maybe early 50s, begins calling out to someone and I don't pay it any attention since I am on the phone with a relative. The call was short and I hung up with my relative a few seconds before reaching my truck. I then get my shoulder grabbed and pulled by the same dude who was making noise at the front of the parking lot. Me EMP, entitled Mediocre Prick SE, supermarket employee. Me, what the duck? Don't touch me, dude. EMP, didn't you hear me? You need to take my cart back. Me, what? No. I don't. Walk it back yourself. EMP, just do your job. You lazy bitch. You kids don't know how to work. Come on, go do what you're supposed to. At this point he grabs my arm and tries to budge me. I'm 5'10" and 200 pounds. A prominent aspect of my job is lifting heavy items. You will not budge me if I don't want to move. Me, I told you not to touch me. I also do not work here. I am not wearing a uniform. I have no work badge. I'm trying to put the groceries I bought into my ducking vehicle. Leave me the duck alone. I wrenched his hand off me and was so pissed that instead of punching him, I turned away and slammed my cart into my truck so I could finally leave this a-hole's orbit. EMP, how dare you ducking touch me? And you just scratched that truck. I'm gonna get you fired and arrested for being a CRAPTY employee. Now the SE, young man who picks up the shopping carts, jogs over to see what's up and is treated to witnessing me trying to get my groceries in my truck and the EMP a-hole grabbing my bags and slamming them on the ground. At this point I'm all sorts of done and ask the kid to call the manager and the cops and to pull up camera footage. I'm gonna need it. SE is like a deer in headlights, but sets off to get help. EMP is now trying to keep me from getting in my truck. Because the whole time he is screaming at the top of his lungs about how I will be fired and arrested. SE came back. Manager unavailable. Great. I asked the SE to stay back since EMP is unhinged and used a small spray bottle of outdoor bleach mixture I keep in my purse to sanitize my work gear when I remove it. Sprayed it in EMP eyes and that got him to budge. I then sat on EMP and I guess all that crap was enough for the manager to show up when SE went back a second time to get him. The security guard was very quiet as he restrained the EMP while we waited for police. The manager apologized and asked for my receipt so they could replace my groceries and then showed the cops their footage of the clusterfuck when they arrived. Turns out EMP has a history of assault against women, shocking. I know, and an attempted kidnapping last year. The SE theorized that EMP may have been trying to get me closer to his car since the cart drop-off was 2 cars away from him. I'm pressing charges and the supermarket is gonna have to switch security companies where the duck was the parking lot security guy. Chatting up teenage girls on the other side of the parking lot. I'm so ducking pissed because it could have gone way worse for me or another woman. The next story is titled, Lady Flips Out at a WinCo. So, this was just a few days ago and I'm still surprised I actually got to have this experience. So, the other day I was at a WinCo shopping with my mum. I'm 14 for context and I look 14. Me and my mum split up to get some groceries to make it faster. Cue the Karen. I was in an aisle looking for stuff to make sandwiches when this lady walks up to me. More context, I'm wearing a plain blue t-shirt and basketball shorts. I did not look like I worked there. Karen, excuse me? Me, thinking she was talking to someone else, I ignored her. Karen, excuse me? Me, I turned to see why she is sounding so dramatic and she was looking directly at me. Karen, you there? Go get me some chips, I need 'em for my baby boy tonight. Me, are you talking to me? She just rolls her eyes and repeats about needing chips. I say, I don't work, Karen, cutting me off. No. You do work here, go get me what I asked for. She is literally yelling at me while I'm just standing there not saying a word. Me, lady, I don't work here, go find an employee if you need help. Karen, you are an employee. If you don't get what I asked for, I will get your manager. Me, go right ahead. She storms off, obviously going to get the manager. She comes back about a minute later with the manager in tow. Karen, him. That's him. He was so rude to me, fire him now. Manager gives a confused look and says, ma'am, he doesn't work here. Karen, yes. He does. GRT, him, fired. I then say, lady, just duck off, I'm just getting my things so I can leave. She then looks extremely offended and literally tries to slap me right in front of the manager. I duck under her slap and the manager calls for security. She takes another swing at me, this time her hand in a fist. I dodge again and kick her in the shin. Not a painful kick, just one that says, knock it off. She then proceeds to banshee scream, yelling about how I assaulted her. And I should be arrested. At this point security came over and asked, what the hell is happening? Me, this lady Karen, he assaulted me and refused assistance. Have him fired and arrested now. The security guard asks the manager, who says this lady demanded I was fired and tried to attack me. Security goes up to her and just as they're about to escort her out, she makes one last desperate swing at me. At this point I'm done with this crap. So I catch her hand and knee her in the stomach and she crumbles to the ground as security takes her off. I didn't even think these people existed until now. The next story is titled, I hope I don't get fired from the job I don't have. My summer work uniform consists of khaki pants and a plain red polo shirt. So you see where this is going. It's been very hot this week and I decided to stop at Target on the way home from work to pick up some ice cream and popsicles for my family. I made it 10 feet into the store when someone asked me if I worked there. I kindly explained that I did not and moved on. Soon after, I was standing near the ice cream freezer with a shopping basket in my hand when a college kid asked me if the store carried a certain brand of ice cream. I showed her my basket and explained that I didn't work there but realized that my outfit totally made me look like I did. We both had a good laugh about it and started looking for the ice cream brand together. While we were looking, an older woman stalked up to me and yelled, "You've been helping her long enough. Now show me where the dog food is." I held up my basket, now with several boxes of popsicles in it, and explained that I did not work there. She got really upset and told me that even if I was on my break and shopping that I still had to help her. I slowed down my speech and said, I do not work in this store. That set her off and she stormed off to find the manager and get me fired. The college kid next to me laughed through the whole incident and told me to post it here. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comment.